Ooh, you miss me? I know. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If today is your first time coming across this channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, the notification bell icon, so that when I release a video you will be the first to get notified. All right, in today's video we're going to be making a straight dress with a princess dart, okay, and then a gathered sleeve. So I've gone ahead to mark my starting point. I'm taking my measurement from the shoulder line to the bust point, which is 10 inches. So I'm going to mark 10 inches at that point. I'm also going to mark my under bust, which is 13.5 inches, and then my half length at that point is 17 inches. So you can use your measurement for the dress, okay? So once I'm done with that, I went ahead to mark the hip measurement, my hip measurement. I also marked the full length of the dress, which was 47 inches. Then I went ahead to draw a horizontal line across all the points I marked. I'm so sorry, I didn't know my camera was not videoing again the front, so I'm just going to illustrate what I did. My camera just stopped. I think my phone was already full. So after I had drawn this, so this is what I achieved. So I'm just going to go ahead and explain. So what I did first was I took the nipple to nipple, the bust point nipple to nipple, which was 4.5. I marked it from the bust point down to the length of the dress, okay, at that point, and I ruled a straight line. So at the half length I came out by ½ inches on both sides at the half length. You can see that. Then I connected it straight to the bust point and to the hip, okay. So then I also went ahead to mark my shoulder, and then I took out the neck width, which was 3.5, and the neck depth, which was 4 inches. Then I took also the shoulder depth, which was 8 inches, okay, which is our chest line. Then I took half of that, which is 4 inches, and then I marked it at that point. So I went ahead to connect the princess dart to half of my shoulder, which was in the armhole area. So that was what I did. And then I took my body measurement, the bust point, the bust, round bust, I divided it by 4 and marked it at that point, added 1 inch and then 1.5 inch allowance for sewing. I did the same thing for the waist and for the hip measurement. So around the neck you can see a slanty line, so I went in by 2.5 inches on the neck, and around the armhole 3.5 inches, and then I slanted it. So what I'm currently doing now is marking the back. I went up the half length by 1 inch, and then I also marked the hip line. So I'm going to cut using the front pattern to cut the back pattern. Once I was done with that, I took out the front pattern, mark the neck of the back pattern, and then I took out the front pattern. I also then measure the hip. I took the horizontal line of the hip and then the waistline. So I went in by 4.5 inches for my nipple to nipple. I came in first by ½ inches just to prevent bulging, okay, at the back from the waistline. Then I came in again by 4.5 inches. This is for the dart. I took that to the full length of the dress, okay. So I'm going to draw a straight line connecting the 4.5 inches I just marked now. Okay, so I'm drawing my chest line. So once I'm done with that, I'm going to take a ruler to connect the 4.5 inches I just marked, and once I'm done with that, I'm going to connect the dart to the armhole, okay. So I'm just using my ruler to connect the ½ inches I took in from the waist to the zipper line. That's the zipper line, okay, just to prevent the bulging at the back. So I'm going to go ahead now and mark half of the armhole to connect my princess dart. So that's where I connected it, okay. So I'm going to mark the neck depth, which is 1 inch, and then I'll connect the curve for the neck line. So I'll go ahead and cut the back panel. So I cut off the neckline, and then I'm going to go ahead to cut the princess dart open. So I'll go ahead and also cut the front panel. So I went ahead to cut another fabric for the neck part, which I cut out before. It's because I'm going to be joining it to the actual dress. So I added 1 inch for the sewing allowance. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now and join it to the dress using 1/2 inch for both sides. Once I'm done, I'm going to iron press it and bring it back. So once I was done ironing, this is what it looks like. So I've gone ahead to join the side panel to the front, the princess that we cut. I'm joining it to the front, that's the center front panel. Okay, so I'm joining it by 1/2 inch. Once I'm done doing that on both sides, I'm going to the iron to press it and then I'll bring it back. So I did the same for the back panel. I sewed 1/2 inch of the side panel to the center back. Once I was done with that, I went ahead to sew on the zipper line. So I sewed the zipper line from the neck down to the full length. Once I was done with that, I went to the ironing table to iron press this clothes. A lot of ironing just to have a neat finishing. Once I was done ironing, I went ahead to interlock all the edges. So I went ahead to also cut the facing for the front panel and then for the back panel. Once I was done with that, I went ahead to place the front panel to the back panel right side facing each other. Then I joined the shoulder using 1/2 inch. I also went ahead to join the shoulder of the facing with 1/2 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my sleeve pattern. I'm going to fold my fabric into 2 and then into 4. So I'll go ahead and mark the starting point using my ruler. Once I'm done with marking the straight line, I'm going to mark 3.5 inches. This is for the gathers we are going to make at the top of the sleeve, and then I'll go ahead and mark 4 inches. This is for my cap height of the sleeve. I'm going to mark the full length of the sleeve, which is 17 inches. This is a 3/4 sleeve. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and mark the horizontal lines of each of them. I'll go ahead and use my chalk to make a curve for my armhole. I'm also going to connect that curve to the 3.5 inches we marked earlier for the gathers. Okay, just look at what I'm doing. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and cut the sleeve. Also, I measured the round sleeve for the bottom. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and cut the sleeve. I'll go ahead and sew loose stitch on the sleeve just to make a gathers at that point. Once I'm done, I'm going to gather that and then arrange it and sew it on my sleeve. Just watch what I'm doing, you'll get it. So this is what the sleeve looks like after I finish sewing it. I'm going to go ahead and take the measurement for the round sleeve and mark the allowance at that point. I'm also going to take our full body's measurement, mark it on the point and mark our allowance, and then I'm going to sew it. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to iron it, and you would see that we are almost done with this dress. Once I'm done ironing, I'm going to fix the zipper, and that is all for this dress. So this is the final look of the dress. Let me know in the comment section what you think. Thank you for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.